myself up.
Absolutely.
Warm myself up.
Today's music and
Absolutely.
Warm myself up.
Today's music and show is brought to you by
330.
Today's music and show is brought to you by
Classic Time.
Hartsville.
Science 330.
330 to go, Akron's hottest and fastest growing show.
Where they thought I was at? I'm still reppin' the city. Just stay down if you with me. We gon' really represent. Gotta represent. Yeah.
And we are live. Welcome to the 330 to go high school football show, live from inside the majestic Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in downtown Canton, Ohio, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, just over our shoulders. Hall of Fame Village, powered by Johnson Controls. I am Mike Voorhees.
Jeff Cauliflower.
Matt McGall. Happy.
And we're here. If you are on Facebook, share. Please share. Share 100 times. Share.
What up, man?
We need you. We love our fans. We need you to share. We are here live for our game of the week. But before we discuss the game of the week, 330 to go is proud to announce Signs 330 is our corporate high school game day show sponsor. Signs 330 is an independent, locally owned and operated sign shop who believes that good signs can be a major tool for successful marketing for any business. Signs 330 provides expert support to determine the most cost-effective signage, assures that all orders will be delivered on time and in full, and is dedicated to making your experience stress-free from start to finish. Signs 330 made our custom network banner here on the front of the table.
It's pretty. It's so pretty.
It is so pretty. Within a 24-hour turnaround, we have had excellent customer service, and we know you will too. For all your signage needs, go to Signs 330. Well, gentlemen, Week 6 is upon us. Our game of the week, thus the reason we're here live from Tom Benson, is the 4-1, 1-0 in the Federal League Hoover Vikings. Travel here to take on the Canton McKinley Bulldogs, who are 1-4 and 1-1 in the Federal League. This game is sneaky good.
Sneaky good. Catchphrase of
Not
Sneaky
really sure
good.
how to even look at this game after what we talked about. They were thinking about getting rid of McKinley's coach. And then
No,
all
there
of a
were
sudden
rumblings.
There was.
There were some
Not after
rumblings,
last
and-
week.
Well, no, I mean Green's solid, but as we were talking about earlier, they're
last
not
week.
they're not as good as last year for sure.
Well, we'll get into all of that. I mean, McKinley
Of course.
dominated Green, but we'll talk about that and so much more. I mean, guys, what a week last week.
Oh, we had some big time programs.
We
have a
had
couple this week
some
too.
amazing games that came down to the final seconds. Another overtime 2-point conversion win. CVCA kept rolling. I mean, Hoban won. I mean, just the list goes on and on.
Both the big dogs from Cleveland got beat.
I can't believe that.
That's
That's crazy.
St. Ed's and St. Ignatius
Yes.
both go down in the same week.
parochial powerhouse.
To
Drops.
our local,
drops.
to some of our local kids.
Yeah.
The Massillon Tigers definitely came to play that game.
I mean, and they've got their hands full this week, too.
Yeah, that corner end zone though, when that ball,
Mm-hmm.
that was a great ball.
Oh, Jalen
There it is.
Slaughter. We'll talk about Jalen Slaughter. They've turned the lights on for us.
Yeah,
Right,
So
see that?
that must mean that we're special. Ooh.
Ooh.
The echo is in as well.
What's going on here now?
I like it.
Got
I
that
like
going
it.
on. Our boy Jeff here is bundled
at-
up. It's a
well,
little chilly
okay.
if you can't tell.
Did they sign you out of the senior home?
They did. They knitted that in workshop class.
This
right?
was our
Crochet
craft
class?
last
Craft
night.
last
Okay.
night.
Yes.
He's got
Right after
last night's
bingo.
craft.
I know we have to be done before 8 o'clock. Jeff has to get to bed.
He does.
He's got bingo
He's gotta
tonight.
get back.
His prune
8:15,
juice and
I
fruit
think.
snacks will be waiting
Juice
for
cocktail
him.
when you get back.
Cocktails for sure. Cocktails for sure.
And his appetizers, as we call them, the medicine that helps him sleep and
Yes,
all that
yes.
fun stuff. So
Yep.
Sleep, wake up, all that kind of stuff.
we'll make sure Jeff gets back home safe and sound. But
No, but in
Oh.
all honesty, it's the
a
Hall of Fame blanket. It's a Hall of Fame
So,
blanket. So
of
they had to
course.
rock it.
Moonman, thank you.
Moonman hooked him up.
Moonman always hooking us up. All right, guys. So let's talk a little bit about our game of the week, and then we'll recap the week that was. Talk about the games that are happening tomorrow night. and talk about some of these players that showed up and showed out in amazing ways. So Hoover comes into this game against McKinley. Now, McKinley, shocked. I think Matt and I, we were in attendance.
Yeah.
And no one, I don't think, could have scripted that game any better. McKinley just dominates Green
They came out from
in
jump.
every facet of the game.
Was
Punch
it
him in the
51?
face.
They scored 51.
51 points.
I don't
Green
know, I
only
was-
scored 19. The problem was Green is one-dimensional, and McKinley attacked that from the word go. They pinned their ears back. They pressured Robbie Glockner. I mean, he was sacked a bunch. He was pressured a bunch. His timing with his receivers, quarterback, both of them ran
could
for
throw the ball,
days. It was insane, the gaps and the holes. And
They got really physical with the Martin kid.
yeah,
And I think that might have took a little bit of toll. And like you said, Baglias, the timing was off. It just, from jump, McKinley went back old school and was like,
Yeah.
you know what? Our season's hanging.
They
Literally.
They had to
Yes,
win.
they
You know,
had
we're
to.
0-4. Let's just come out and be physical, and let's see how it goes from there.
And just because they won that game, so they moved from 16th in the rankings all the way up to 12th. So, I mean, just that
now
one
we know why
win.
they were 16 at 0-4, which last week.
but-
Wow.
I
But
still
in all
couldn't wrap my
honesty,
head around that.
look at the teams that McKinley has played.
Matter.
Good teams.
4 very tough opponents to start their season. They started the year in Menor against a very good Menor team and lost. Week 2, Austintown Fitch came
Great
to
team.
Canton,
They got a great game this
and
week.
Fitch controlled every moment of that game.
They're undefeated.
And then Dublin Kaufman from Columbus came
That's
up.
always anybody from
And
down there.
McKinley was in that game the entire way, and just Dublin took the win by 2 points.
Yeah.
And then week 4, they played Perry. That wing T offense is so difficult to
I think
stop.
that's the
But
one
they
that-
had a 14-point lead, McKinley did, and they lost. They just couldn't hold it. And when I interviewed Coach Antonio Hall before the McKinley-Green game, he said it's self-inflicted wounds.
Yeah.
We're doing it to ourselves. We're turning the ball over. We're committing stupid penalties. We're not playing a consistent 60 minutes.
Yeah.
And until we can put a full 60 minutes together, doesn't matter. And it's not 60 minutes because they only play 48 in high school football. But
Good catch.
I
I was
You
with
know.
you.
huh?
I was with you on the 60 minutes.
Yeah, that's
Just seeing this
that's pro.
nod in my head, like, yeah, he's
That's
right.
pro. But then I'm like, no, that's high school is 12 minutes. But
Those
I mean,
4 teams are 17 and 7. So, as you said, man, they're all quality programs.
So for everybody saying, "Oh, well, Coach Hall, he's going to lose his job," shut up, sit down,
it's
go
not.
home. Like
It's
this
definitely
city
not happening.
loves football. Canton loves their.
That's where it all
sports
started.
teams. Right. Coach Hall shut up all the critics. I think he had his team ready to go. They demolished Green. I mean,
Looking forward to tomorrow
I
night.
think they're setting it
this
up.
Hoover team, though, guys, is not a slouch. I mean, Connor Derlin, their quarterback, he can run, he can throw. He's a very talented young man. He had 2 touchdowns on the ground last week, 1 in the air. We know Hoover loves to run the football. Last week against Glen Oak, they rushed 45 times for 261 yards. However, last week they also gave up the most points they have all season on defense to the Glen Oak Golden Eagles. The Eagles scored 31 points on
And
Hoover.
McKinley's coming off 51.
Yeah.
So
And they had only been allowing 11 points a game, Hoover, before that 31 by Glen Oak. Their defense swarms the quarterback. They've got a great group of D linemen and linebackers. They really get after the quarterback, and they're really good on special teams as well. I mean, this game has everything you could possibly ask for in a high school football game.
and a beautiful stadium.
Oh, my goodness. The stadium
Jealous
is
they get
gorgeous.
to play here. Gorgeous.
Thank you
Absolutely
again
gorgeous.
to the Hall of Fame Village, powered by Johnson Controls, allowing us to be on the property tonight, allowing us to film live. I mean, we tried to get on the field, but they wouldn't let us. They got a game tomorrow night, so they didn't want Jeff tearing up the field.
I would have slopped it all up.
That's,
I did about
that's
6
too
weeks
much
ago.
information.
Way too
I was
much.
down
Where-
there.
Way too
Where
much
are we going with
information.
that?
Kicking
What-
field
I don't know
goals,
what we're doing.
catching passes.
Where am I supposed to go with
punt,
this?
pass, and kick.
To the
Is
next
that what
segment.
you call it now?
To
in
the
the
next
old folks'
segment.
home?
On to the next.
Next segment.
Next. Let's go. Moving along.
So let's talk about some of our top performers from last week. I mean, I'll start obviously with some of the guys from the Stark County and the Federal League. I went quarterback heavy here, guys. We'll start first and foremost, West Branch quarterback Drew Deshields. 21 of 28, 248, 3 touchdowns, and 1 on the ground. This kid is something incredible. It's like watching a grown man play against boys. Like, this guy is absolutely incredible. What he can do just by throwing the ball, I mean, he's extremely accurate, and not only can he hurt you with his arm, he hurts you with his legs.
Yeah.
He's incredible.
Every week we're talking about him.
Everybody, because he
every
puts
week.
numbers up that you cannot overlook. That's the thing. I'm not trying to ride his coattails every week, but when you're putting up stats like this, like, my goodness, I'm not gonna not talk about you.
Right.
But not to be outdone, Massillon quarterback Jalen Slaughter, he threw for 295 yards, a season high, 3 touchdowns, including the game-winning touchdown pass in the final 20 seconds, in knocking off the number 1 ranked team in Northeast Ohio, the St. Ed's Eagles.
Insane.
That
over the
game
shoulder
was
throw.
insane. We'll talk about it. I mean, there's so much to dissect from it. But what a game.
None of us picked it.
No,
No.
I think we went St. Ed's across the board, and Massillon really showed
they're
us that we
nationally
were done.
ranked, you know?
Yeah, I mean, they're number
D1
1.
coming down here.
Yeah. And
I
then,
don't know. I'm surprised.
so my third quarterback is Jackson quarterback Joe Lattarulo. Now listen, his stats aren't going to jump off the page at you. He was 5 for 15 for 48 yards, and he threw a pick 6. But what impressed me about this kid is third game now he started due to the injury to their starting quarterback, Ethan Lesko. Mm-hmm. He threw a game-winning 2-point conversion in overtime to stun Perry. This kid could have hung his hat going 5 of 15. Didn't play like he wanted to play. But when it mattered the most, he put the team on his back, threw that dime in the corner of the end zone to upset Perry in another incredible football game.
2 weeks in a row they went to OT, right?
Jackson against Green and
Yeah.
against Perry. Yeah.
A lot of overtime
But then
games.
I got to add not only Joe Lattarulo, but Jason Davide from Jackson.
Yeah.
This kid is incredible. What a talent. 26 carries, 139 yards, and three touchdowns.
Sounds like a regular day for him.
This kid, it's a regular day at the office. I mean, he just,
Punch
you give
the
him the
time clock,
ball,
go to work.
and
Yeah.
he goes nuts. Lunch pail and all. I mean, this guy just does it. So those are mine.
Ooh, that's what we should just call it, the lunch pail award.
Ooh,
Who just went to
that's
work?
not
I
bad.
think we just
Who
called
just went
that.
to work?
I think
You did.
I think
Yeah, there we go.
I said it.
Patent it. Put
He
it down
took
now.
Done.
Done.
All right. Who's
Knew I was
next?
here for something. You want to take it?
He's
Oh,
Go ahead.
age before beauty, right?
Absolutely, yes.
always. Well,
Oh, I'm sorry, Jeff. I
you
love
dating yourself?
you. You're older than me,
Well, then
man.
why would you go before me?
Because I'm sitting.
You
at
did
the
better than I did
left
last
of
week,
the
that's
table.
why.
I did do better than you last week.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to my neck
I
of the
think
woods.
a monkey did better than you last
Ooh.
week.
Hey, still not a losing record.
No,
5 and 5.
Still 500 ball.
Yep. But I'm going back down to Buckeye. It was a big game against Valley Forge last week, and actually, in Medina circles, I think the Gazette has dubbed them the Cardiac Bucks.
Their helmets are sweet.
They
I
are.
have to say.
They are really
Like,
cool.
I didn't think that the deer antler thing would work.
It
But
does
that
work.
looks
It
really,
does.
really cool.
I know,
I see it every time on TV. I
I
think
kn-
it's awesome.
I never
So
really
had
liked
to-
the name Buckeye Bucks. It seems such a non-original. But
Yeah. Just
Yeah.
cut off the E,
But-
the I.
But you know what? They came back and they won on a 2-point conversion last week.
Man, another 2-point conversion
Yes.
game winner. I love it.
So they're 3-1, and 1-0 in the GLC East. So they're poised. Other than that 1-point loss to Cloverleaf in week 1, man, this team is playing really good. Anyway, my guy is their wide receiver, defensive back, kick returner. He's Mr. Everything. Zach Honorati. He was the difference maker in this game. He took the opening kickoff back 50 yards. The very next play, first play from scrimmage, he catches a 41-yard touchdown. All right. Valley Forge brings the ball down. They score, tie it up 7-7. He returns the next kickoff 86 yards to the 2. Next play, they score. He didn't score, but they scored on the next
Put
play.
the team on his back. I love it.
Valley Forge tied him up again, and for good measure, they held him this time, and then he had a 43-yard punt, and then they scored 2 plays later.
So
and,
he's
and
the punter.
21-7.
He's the punter.
Punt return,
Oh, he returned the punt.
43
Okay.
yards.
Okay.
Yeah, to the Valley Forge 25, and then that set up their next touchdown. Took them up 21-7 late in the first half. Anyway, he finished with 6 catches for 129 yards, 327 all-purpose yards.
That's insane.
Wow.
Have yourself a day, young sir.
Yeah, and on that last drive, 4th down catches, 12 yards, 4th down, and 25, and caught them both. So
Wow.
I mean, this kid had an amazing game. We had to.
I like
had to
this
bring it
lunch
in.
pail award thing. It's still in my brain,
it's
and
still
I
lingering,
I,
right?
I like it.
I'm gonna have
See how
to
he just came
develop
up
that
with
a
that?
little bit.
Yeah.
Going to work.
That's what I'm here for.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're the developer.
No, I don't.
All right, so we got one. Who else you got?
I'm going
Jeff?
another quarterback, and I picked this because it's one of our games that we're going to talk about. But Nordonia quarterback, senior Joey Palinkas, he's been playing really good this year. He has that team 5-0 right now. They have a big game this week going into Wadsworth.
They do.
We'll see. We'll talk about that a little bit. But the numbers weren't amazing, but he was 14 for 25, 161 yards. But he did have 4 touchdowns, and it was a big game. They needed to handle Twinsburg because Twinsburg's not as good as they have been. They beat him 33-3, and he hit 3 different receivers. So he's been doing that all season, spreading the ball around, and we'll see what he can do tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm really interested. I was at last week's Wadsworth game, and I'll probably go catch this one tomorrow
Yeah,
too.
we know you were sad texting us because you picked Wadsworth, and Matt and I took Hudson, and
No, we'll talk about that. But I'm going to
Upset he
surprise
didn't-
you guys here.
Upset he didn't keep his Walmart receipt to return that shirt.
Yeah. Well,
I
know. It was the last one on the shelf, too.
oh man,
And then I got home and I realized it was a little bit crooked. That's why
we can't. Jeff can't
not
go
even
home
even.
crying. We can't bully him all night long.
No.
it would have been amazing if Denise would have come up. I'm sure it would have been a much better shirt.
Oh, nice plug. I like it. Well done.
But look, I'm going somewhere that you guys are going to be really surprised about, and it's
Back to the old folks' home.
Scat Bus is here to pick
I'm going to
him up.
Brunswick.
What? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What?
Your hometown.
Look, I've been giving them some stuff
You've been
this
giving
year,
him more than just a little.
but you know what? I don't dislike anyone that plays high school football.
That's true.
No.
Coaches,
Yeah,
players,
that's fair.
none of that
Kids
stuff.
are giving everything
That's
they
about the
got.
rivalry that we had.
Yeah.
But they only had a couple returning starters from the defense, and they weren't that bad last year. They were 6-5, but they started off 0-3, and that's why I kept giving it to them, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they weren't doing very well at all. But you know what? Behind their senior captain and inside linebacker Chase Buckner, he's 6'1", 215 pounds. He's the designated signal caller. He has been for, I believe, last year and this year. Anyway, he had 13 tackles against Howland in the game that they lost the week. But in the last 2 games, I think he's had close to 20 tackles. And like I said, he's the main reason that they've turned this around. Yeah. So they've won their last 2 games. They're now sitting 2-3, but they even themselves up in the conference 1-1. And we've always said that as long as you're right there in the conference, you can make it up. And if you win in that conference, you have a good shot at making the playoffs. So 3-year starter, Chase Buckner. We're going to give the shout out to Brunswick. Good job, guys.
Wow.
Wow, I'm
I
impressed.
never had to pay you to say that again.
Whew. Wow. All
Tear
right,
that page
Matt.
up, throw it away. Talmadge kid, Ty Hurst. Did it
Okay.
again.
Again? Yes.
18 of 22, 303, 5
That's-
TDs.
I mean, that's
That's
efficiency at its finest
disgusting
right
good.
there.
That's so
That's
good.
video game numbers.
No, this next one's video
Yeah.
game
Okay,
numbers.
video. Okay, I'm ready.
Set
I'm
him
ready.
again. Okay, we've talked about him about every week. Daywan Owens, 22 of 31, 352, 2 TDs in the air. Okay, that's a heck of a day.
That's a great game.
311 on the ground.
That's sick.
15 carries and 4 TDs. And they lost.
Almost 700 yards.
And they lost.
That's a theme for them this year.
Yes.
Almost.
We've
He
talked
put up
about that
so-
kid
the-
Wait,
multiple
hold on,
times.
hold on a minute.
He scored everything. He did it all.
Almost 700 yards of offense from one man,
Yes.
and they came up short.
And they took the L.
Oh man,
But I mean, that kid's just doing phenomenal.
He-
so, I
he
mean,
deserves
he's
the
definitely
lunch
grabbing
pail right
attention
there.
from every.
he definitely deserves the lunch.
And we're going to talk about that. That's
Absolutely.
one of the reasons that I picked that. Is it doesn't seem like it's going to be a great game, but we have talked about multiple Copley kids.
We have.
We haven't really touched the other team that they're playing, but on paper it looks like it should be a good game. But when you look at the numbers
Yeah, when you
and,
pick
and the
falls.
scores,
Yep.
We'll
when
talk
you
about
pick
it.
falls,
When
just
you
remember
pick
that,
falls,
fans.
we'll talk
I
about
never
it.
said I was.
Just
Yeah,
remember,
it's happening.
holding Jeff to it later on.
Last one, kid from Coventry, Dalton Cooksey, had 4 TDs. So I had to do a little more homework on him. So I
Okay.
asked around. I found out also is phenomenal wrestler. So I wanted to give him a shout out.
Okay.
We haven't talked about Coventry too much.
I like dual sport athletes.
You know what I mean?
That's
so
great.
Got to spread a little bit of love. So yeah, I was digging around and was able to get a little help. So got to give credit to Coach Shin on that.
We'll take it, man.
He hooked
I mean,
me up, man. He
dual
gave me some
wrestlers,
information.
dual
I can't
sport-
act like I know all this. You know, there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of plagiarism that
Listen,
happens.
we're just
You're
normal
a decent
guys.
actor, though. You are a decent actor, though.
We're
Fake
just
it till you
normal
make it,
guys.
right?
We do our research. We're not just up here talking out of both sides of our head. So
No.
we
You gotta
put in
ask
some
around.
work here.
You got to ask around.
I
like to hear what the streets are saying. The ears. You know,
There
keep the
you
ear
go.
low.
Keep your ear to the low. Keep your ear
I
low
wish
to the streets.
more people were commenting, giving me more information to make
guys,
me sound
if
smarter.
we're
building.
and you know what? That's a beautiful segue.
Thank you. Did it again.
Guys, if we're missing a player, if there's an outstanding player in the 330, the 330 is a large territory. If we're missing somebody, for Pete's sake, would you tell us?
Yeah.
We want to
Pete.
talk about him.
That's what this show's about.
Exactly. We want to spread the love and the light on these kids that are out there giving everything they've got every Friday night.
Yeah.
You know, and doing a sport that they love. Like, we want to talk about them. So if there's a game that you want us to cover, if there's a player you want us to look into, comment, tag us, message us, send a smoke signal, a pigeon dove, whatever. Get a hold of us.
Look, our games this week. Touch right on what you just said. We have
Exactly.
3 games, 6 teams that we've not talked about yet this year.
Yeah,
and
and
You're
things,
dying to get to the pick'ems because
he
why we brought
wants
him,
to
right?
so
He
bad.
wants to so bad
Why though?
because he was 5-5.
I know, right?
He
9-1.
went a whopping
Speaking of-
50% on this.
Speaking of our pick'ems, would you guys like to know the current standings? Yes, Jeff is all of those things. I'm just kidding. We love
After
you, Jeff.
9-1,
After 9-1,
After
so
9-1.
the sky's the limit for Jeff,
still has the best record.
and he
Take
fell
that away.
hard.
He did.
5-5, Jeff. But hey, I only did one game better. It's 6-4. The man of the hour on our far right, Mr. 7-3.
7-3.
And
It's
he
okay.
guessed at all those games.
He even
Flipped.
said it.
A coin. He flipped a coin, I believe.
No one flipped it. I did
Or he had a
vowel thing.
red crayon and
I
a
did the
green
vowel
crayon
thing
and
last week.
just picked one.
I got teased about that.
Vowels.
People actually asked me, text me
Jeez.
if I really, truly were picking games because of vowels.
Wow. Well,
Yes.
So now Matt up
Go
by
on.
one game at 37-16. I am at 36-17. Jeff is at 35-18. So Jeff now 2 games back.
I was
again.
2 weeks ago as well.
Yeah, and you made a comeback. So let's recap some of these games. Of course, the first game we'll talk about, St. Ed's going to Massillon. Massillon winning 31-28. Massillon scores a touchdown in the final seconds. St. Ed's had a chance. Game-winning field goal, or a game-tying field goal, was wide right at the end of the game. St.
far was
Ed's
that
left
from?
43 yards.
Gosh, where do they find these kids?
I don't know, but
43 yards
St.
to
Ed's
attempt
left
that. That's
26 points on the board, or on the field. They
Wow.
missed 4 field goals.
That'll do it.
I mean, there was some.
That's
I
what
think
happens when you go down to the Tiger Stadium.
That's why there's so many 2-point conversions and stuff.
Yeah.
It's so hard to find a really good
Obi-
kicker.
Obi was running
Listen,
around on the field.
I'm going to say
intimidating.
this: I love kickers. The stress that they are under is unfathomable.
Yeah.
These are young kids.
And you're standing out there.
And you're out there, and everybody's watching you, and everything's relying on your foot. And if you turn wrong, or if the laces aren't right, or the snap's bad, you're the one that takes the heat, nobody else. I feel bad for kickers. I do.
Ray Finkel started it all.
Laces out, Dan.
Laces out, Dan.
All right, moving on. Perry takes on Jackson. Perry falls. Jackson wins this
Who
game.
picked Perry? Anybody pick Perry? Raise your hand. Oh, I thought you did.
No, me and you picked Jackson.
Yeah.
You had Perry.
Oh.
I had Perry, and that one hurt. Perry actually came back in this game. Jackson led for the most part. Perry made it a game at the end. Jackson goes for 2 after Perry scored on their opening overtime possession. Jackson was like, hey, you know what? We're on the road. We saw what happened to us when Green did it.
Yep.
So we're going to do it to Perry, and Joe Latarulo hits his receiver for 2 points and the win. That place was absolute pandemonium.
Look, Jackson's
after that
catching
game.
their stride
like
right
5 or
when they
6
need to.
They're 2-2.
This year,
Yep.
I've done that.
So Jackson's got a huge game on Friday night. We'll get to that here. So moving on, the CVCA Royals continue to roll.
And I picked him.
36-6.
We
all did.
We all did. They dominate Tri-Way
I was nervous.
in a game that I thought was going to be much, much closer. CVCA just dominated everything in that game. Kyle Snyder,
His dad actually gave a great breakdown.
he
last
did.
week.
Shout out to Mr. Snyder.
Yeah, we got him last. We were talking to him
I
last week.
know he's
on the
watching
show.
tonight because he actually asked what time we were going live. He wants to know.
Nice.
We got one viewer.
The answer was 7:30. If you had that in the pool, you won. We know last week we were a little late due to technical difficulties, which happens sometimes. So CVCA wins that game. Now moving on, St. Ignatius at Hoban.
Got handled.
Hoban handles them 28-7. What a game!
Surprising.
I know Hank would be proud.
Oh,
Hey
I'm
Hank,
here
don't
now.
worry. St. V's coming.
I think he is. There's their games later in the year though.
Yeah.
That one we were talking about.
I mean,
before the
what
show.
a game. St. Ignatius, another highly ranked team in Northeast Ohio, and they go down to Hoban, and Hoban just smacked them around.
I thought
Hoban
it was going to
threw-
be a close game.
Yeah,
a lot
we all
closer than
did.
that.
It
We
wasn't
all
all
did.
Sperling. I mean, that long kid threw the
That-
ball
look,
for like
I-
200. I think that's his high yardage on the season.
Look, and I said going into that game that this kid's he's starting to come into himself. You know what I mean? He's making good decisions.
Yeah.
He's playing with confidence, and so the sky's the limit. I mean, Hoban's looking.
He said the big kid
Tougher
that's
and tougher.
Like the locker room glue in there is the Crable kid.
Yeah.
And he's went from quarterback down to tight end, and he's
He
making
was.
some
Oh,
noise.
he's the guy that
doing
got
well.
displaced.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
Hey,
but still,
you got to find a way
he
to make
stepped up,
a.
and he's being a leader. And
Right.
That's what it takes.
Yes,
You
absolutely.
got to
It's not
find a way
always,
to step in and step out. And
Credit
show-
to them.
Yeah.
So, yeah. give
So
them-
next game on the list, we had Woodridge. Finally, maybe has a stadium this week. I haven't heard a confirmation,
That's right.
but Woodridge goes in. Oh,
Oh, we
Moonman
saw-
thumbs
we
up.
saw
Nice.
thumbs up
So
there.
Woodridge will finally have a home game.
Okay.
Finally.
We got to get out there at some point. Hopefully.
Woodridge travels to Norton. Woodridge wins in a tight game, 28-21. This game was fun.
Picked it.
Yep.
You guys took
Woodridge, man.
Woodridge.
I don't even understand.
I took Norton.
Yep.
Yeah.
Me too.
That's-
This team is
But it
just
was a good
resilient.
game. Woodridge just continues to bounce back, and they're I can't wait to see what they're like in front of their hometown, in front of their home crowd, and
We'll see that stadium.
it's going to be beautiful. We will definitely get out to Woodridge and
Actually,
catch a game.
there's a whole bunch of great games in that whole area. So
Mm-hmm.
if like you're going out into that Falls area tomorrow,
Good luck.
you've got CVCA at home,
You got
Walsh is
Walsh
at
at home.
and Woodridge potentially is at home.
Against
so,
Springfield, yeah.
Wing Warehouse, they're probably going to be pretty packed. there
So
tomorrow.
I know that Hank his phone's probably going to blow up with traffic problems
Yeah.
all night long tomorrow
that would be
night.
a shame if he missed the whole game. It
No,
really
I hope
would.
he doesn't
Oh.
miss a whole game. That
Well,
would be bad.
aw. Tears.
Oh no. Anyway, yeah. So if you are traveling from the into the Stowe, Cuyahoga Falls area tomorrow,
There it is. Home Woodridge Athletics has confirmed it. So it is
there you go.
Nice.
See,
Nice.
When in doubt,
Thanks,
the
guys.
fans
Absolutely.
answer. So now West Branch goes to Howland. I thought this game was going to be an absolute massacre.
Was it?
48-15, West Branch won. Most of their starters did not play
After half.
Third quarter. Third quarter is when most of them started.
We bet on half.
Howland finally scored late in the game too. Scored twice.
All right.
So
That was a good pick.
it was. Norwayne at Northwestern. Northwestern wins this one 28-20.
Good game.
It looked like it was a very good game. I was getting some
I lost that
updates.
Yeah, well, I did too.
I had Norwayne. Yep, I
We
think
all
we
did.
all did. So unfortunately, but hey, shout out to Northwestern. They're now
5-1.
4-1. This is week 6, so they've only played 5 games.
Gotcha.
Yep, no worries. Highland travels to Barberton. Highland just spanked Barberton 35-0. I think we all had Highland in this one. Barberton just can't seem to get it consistent.
No.
Well, and Highland's a legit contender.
Highland
this
looks
year. They have a
really
chance
good.
to go really deep in the playoffs and maybe get that school's first.
No, I don't know.
Championship.
Highland looks really, really good. And then our before the game of the week, we had Cloverleaf at Field. Cloverleaf wins big, 42-28. Cloverleaf looks really good.
Yeah,
guys.
that's surprisingly. After that first what?
Oh, sometimes
4-1 now.
that loss in the first week of the season, it really opens your eyes and it gets the team to understand what it needs to do to succeed. Speaking of, the game of the week. Hudson against Wadsworth. We were live from Spunkmeyer's Pub last week, so thanks again to Spunkmeyer's for having us out. Hudson goes in and wins a very good defensive game, 17-7.
Look, I got to give you props. I had a couple pages on that too because you called that game perfect.
Oh,
You called it perfectly. You
for
said,
guessing.
My goodness.
For
you
guessing,
said,
huh?
you said
How about that?
that if it's a shootout like it was with Medina,
Not happening.
then Wadsworth would have a shot. You said also that Hudson was going to wear them down on the ground, and it
I
was
think we
14-7.
both said that.
Yeah, 14-7. He said it first.
He's complimenting the right person, Mike. You just stay on the other side of the table.
Anyway, that's
okay?
what they did. That Ludwig
Compliments are this way. you
carry the ball,
negativity
carry the ball.
that way, okay?
Okay.
And their backup quarterback didn't do anything. He just couldn't find anything.
It's on.
And look, Ludwig wore him down. Wore him down.
They did. That's-
Celebrity
that's-
death
I think
match
that's
coming
Hudson.
soon.
Oh, my gosh. Could you imagine how bad I'd look in claymation? I would look horrible.
But hey, Hudson gets that win. Now it is time for our pick'ems for week number 6. Guys, this was, for me, this was tough. We had a lot of games to choose from. We each picked 3 games plus our game of the week, which gives us 10 games.
I was
I had
giving
to
them
do a
out.
lot of research here.
I was giving out games.
You were.
I was handing them out
You
to
handed
Jeff.
them out because Jeff didn't know what
Jeff
was
was
going on.
picking week 7
He
games.
was.
They changed my medication this week. Okay,
Apparently so.
so I mean, seriously, I'm still trying to figure it out.
Oh, I don't know how to recover from that.
I don't think so, Tim.
I don't think so at all. So we're going to start with the 4-1 Alliance Aviators traveling to the 4-1 Salem Quakers. Guys, this
Great
game is
names.
going to be very, very, very good.
The Lions can score.
Alliance
Look,
has
They have put up points non-stop.
Brandon Zerberg, their quarterback, Caden Davis, their running back. Both are having excellent seasons.
So, like, I went back and looked, and, like, Canton Central Catholic, I think that's
their only-
the mutual
Yes,
game, right?
Alliance
and they
is,
beat Salem.
Salem
Yep.
lost to
Them.
CCC.
And you know
Alliance's
who
only loss was to Lake, and
is
Lake's
to Lake,
undefeated.
and Lake is 5-0.
Yes.
Lakes. Yeah,
Yep.
that's totally different.
So
They spanked everybody else.
I'm
that they
going
played.
Lake, or I'm going Alliance here. I think Alliance just has a little bit more firepower.
Check another one.
Really?
Yep,
I
Lions.
think I'm going to go Alliance as well. I mean,
We're
they
going
beat
unanimous.
Salem last year. Salem won the year before, but like you said, it's they're just scoring too many points.
Alliance looks really good.
Yeah, and like you said, Caden Davis, man, he's 150 and he's got 10 touchdowns. So
Yeah,
far this year.
Caden Davis. I got to watch him last year, and he just there's something different about him. He's got a fifth gear that I've never seen before. It's a very quick step. So Salem will have their hands full. 5-0 Lake Blue Streaks travel to Jackson, fresh off their 2-point win or their 1-point win over Perry. Jackson now 3-2.
Uh-oh.
Lake.
Bingo.
I just think Lake is so strong. Nobody has really given them a fight other than Glen Oak. So, I mean, Jackson has a chance.
Games, Lake's next couple of games, I was talking with someone, they're like, they literally could end up 5-5.
They could.
Like, they're getting into the conference schedule, and we all know what that is.
Look,
and
I
I
said-
think after last week with McKinley and what they did to Green,
Yeah.
you just start looking at the whole federal, and it's way more open than people realize.
Oh,
I think
just because
but
Lake's
Lake has
won
been the heavy
5
favorite
games,
all year.
right?
You know, the
Let's be-
transfer kid in from Mogador.
You Lake?
I'll take Lake.
You taking Lake?
I'll take Lake. You taking Jackson?
Oh, look, it's just like you said.
He's got a purple.
He
Look, it's
does.
just
He's
like
got
you
the
said.
purple mic.
Lake's meat of the schedule is coming up. They got McKinley, Hoover, Perry, and Green.
McKinley's going
So,
to shock a lot.
it's
We don't need to talk
possible.
about Green right yet,
It's
but
possible.
just kidding. I'm a Bulldog.
They
I
could
love
be
the Bulldogs.
overlooking these polar bears that they've still been outscored by their opponents, which I don't like. But you know what? 2-2. That's
They're
4
3-2
straight
now.
road games. The road games.
Yep.
4 straight road games, and they're 2-2, and that's against pretty good teams. They're gonna keep running with that Davide, and
Jason Davide,
and
man.
I'm picking Jackson. I think they continue
Jackson.
to roll.
He says Jackson gives Lake
I'm
their
marking
first
that one.
loss. Mark that one down,
I
folks.
am. So forget it.
Yeah, he will. He'll be texting us Friday night going, who did I pick again? I don't remember. My medication, I don't know.
Should be good by then.
Well, let's hope. All right, guys, a huge game down in Massillon, the 5-0 Austintown Fitch Falcons travel to the 4-1 Massillon Tigers. Man, oh man, this game is going to be amazing. Fresh off Massillon over St. Ed's. I mean, Massillon's flying high right now.
Austintown Fitch. Tell me about him, Jeff.
They're averaging over 40 points a game.
They got a very good team.
4 of the 5 games they've played have been at home, and they've handily beat both the Federal League opponents they've played. 38-14 McKinley, 48-18 Glen Oak.
What was the McKinley game? Score?
38-14.
Second game of the season, and
Yep.
Fitch won 38-14.
The closest game they've had this year was their one game on the road, and that was at Youngstown Ursuline, which is pretty good
They're a really good
program.
team.
They lost 42-34.
They haven't Fitch hasn't lost a game yet this year.
Nope, and they haven't had a losing season since 2007. What? So it's a good program, and these guys know each other. These guys play each other all the time.
Do you have the fact that Austintown Fitch runs a two running back system? Both running backs are over 500 yards already this year. What? Their quarterback is incredible. Their defense is insane. We could be looking legitimately at like a 10-7 game here. We could.
Think so.
I don't think so either, but the potential is there for a shutout, like a very close
I love that
defensive game.
I love that
I'm
fight.
taking the Massillon Tigers, but I think it's going to be close.
I'm gonna go with Katy Perry and Tiger Roar thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like it.
That's the only thing that always made me a little weird. You ever been like when Massillon gets after it before pregame? You hear Katy Perry like pumping nonstop.
Yeah,
I
I'll
don't know
hear
how
it
you really
tomorrow
get
night.
rowdy about that.
I'll hear it tomorrow
Massillon
night.
pulls it off well, so I'm gonna go with them. I'll go with Massillon.
Jeff,
Look, it's a storied program, and we all know the history.
who won last year?
Last year was,
Do you have it?
yeah, I think
Should
it's 38.
35 trees were killed
31-28. Massillon.
Close game again.
And look, they lost to Moeller, which is
And
a
Moeller's a
nationally
stud,
ranked
right.
team, at D1. Then they went on the road for 2
Taking
games.
Fitch.
No. Then they went on the road and scored 68-7. They outscored their opponents on the road. Then they came back home, and that's where they're going to be for the rest of the season. Massillon's, all their games are at
And
home.
here's another tidbit, guys. So after Friday night's game, tomorrow night's game with Austintown Fitch, Massillon does not play another team from Ohio until
McKinley?
Saturday, October 22nd, when McKinley comes to town.
Wow.
Their next 3 games after Fitch are all out-of-state opponents.
That are all at home.
All at home.
Yeah,
Wow.
imagine that one.
Well, Massillon, you know what? Massillon's
come
won the
to
last.
Massillon,
they've,
so-
they've
Yeah,
won
I
the
mean-
last 5 times they've played.
Imagine that.
None of the games were closer than 10, so I think Massillon keeps that going.
All right. Cross the board, Massillon. Got it. All right. 4-1 Talmadge travels to 4-1 Aurora.
This was a tough one to pick.
I went back and forth for half an hour.
Look, the Blue Devils can absolutely score. I mean, other than being held in check by Howland, who we've already mentioned.
It's at Aurora.
Really good team.
It's at Aurora.
Yep.
So make sure.
They've scored over 42 points. They beat a Brecksville team on the road, beat Green on the road. They have a Division I recruit, Colin Dixon. He's got 8 touchdowns. He's over 130 points or receiving yards a game. This matchup began in 2015. Talmadge has not won. Talmadge has not beat Aurora in this matchup.
Wow. And that makes it even tougher. 'Cause could this year be the year, man? Oh, man.
Look, Aurora's only loss is to Painesville Riverside. That's a pretty good team, sitting 4-1 up there around Cleveland.
Riverside's ranked, right?
Yeah.
Coming off 3 straight wins, averaging 58. They beat Copley 63-28. Last week they beat the Falls 69-0. So, this is 2 high-scoring offenses. They've beaten Talmadge in all theirs 299-75 is what they've outscored them.
Oh, my.
I think Aurora. I like Talmadge, but I think Aurora just has their number. I don't think it's going to change this year.
I'm
Matt?
gonna take Aurora too, but I just wonder because Aurora's who they've played in out of conference. I don't know if they've really played tough schedule.
I had Talmadge, and then I switched to Aurora, and then I went back to Talmadge, and then I went back to Aurora.
Are we all Aurora?
I'm going to take Aurora. I don't think this game is going to be
We're not really
a
getting
blowout.
much separation this week.
No, but that's okay. We've got some good games coming up. I think there could be a little
I just
separation.
feel like
We'll
you guys
see.
should pick other teams opposite who I'm picking.
I'm trying,
I
but
wanna
you
build-
keep copying me. So
I want to build my lead.
you got
Doing
to.
consonants next week.
Yeah. So we have the 4-0 Hanks team. Hoban travels to 4-1 Walsh Jesuit. Man, guys, this game's gonna be good too. I got Hoban in this one.
Kirshner kid, I got to give him a shout out.
On Walsh?
Yes.
Yep.
He stepped in. I was reading a little bit about him, how he could have bounced back, went back to Stowe, stayed there, waited his turn. You appreciate that because in this day and age, a lot of kids bounce.
Well, they
from
want to
school
go
school.
where they're
You
going
want
to
to play.
noticed,
I get it.
so.
You want to play. Last year, though, this was a close game.
Yep.
Walsh, I believe, should have won the game. And there's some. I feel like there was something that happened at the end. They kind of shot themselves in the foot.
Uh-oh.
But I think it's just, this is always going to St. V. It was always St. V. Hoban, St. V. Walsh. Walsh Hoban is right there. I think Hoban's going to end up taking this one, though, this week.
Will Jeff pick Walsh?
No, I can't.
He's
Well,
taking
they're an
over.
up-and-coming program. A new stadium, which helps build your program.
By the
You know,
way, that
kids like to
stadium
go
of
there.
Walsh looks phenomenal.
Really?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I've seen it when I take my kid to school, when I've driven past CVCA.
On the other
Looks
side of the street.
Incredible.
Last
looks like a beautiful
last 3
stadium.
weeks, they've outscored their opponents 147-27.
Oof.
And the last 2 games were on the road.
Oof.
I just think what we talked about earlier, that Mr. Long at quarterback is finally coming to his own, and his decision-making and leadership on the field, along with Lamar Sperling, who's just the real deal. He's one of the best backs in the state. I think that's too much. I think Hoban wins.
All right, we're across the board again there, man.
Jeez Louise.
So, real quick, guys, I'm looking at reading some of our comments. Somebody suggested, where did it go?
Mount Union.
West Branch at Alliance could be our game of the week for Week 8.
And it's at Mount Union.
Yes.
How nice would that be?
Moon Man.
Can we
get
get
that?
that?
I think we might be going to Mount Union that week. Oh my goodness,
go.
that might be great.
That'd be nice.
I have called a college game from Mount Union. It's beautiful.
Really?
I enjoy that stadium immensely.
Week
so
8?
Week 8.
Are you getting nervous over there, Jody?
No, what's Hoban?
So
St.
one
V.
of our other fans here said that Fitch was up
thought that was
42-7 at one point in that Ursuline game.
Oh, wow. Really?
Mm-hmm. Mike Swinehart said Fitch was up 42-7.
Whoa! I don't play defense.
Chris Snyder wants to know about Fairless and CVCA.
It's our next game.
It's our next
hold
game.
on. You're getting ahead of us,
Jeez.
man. We got to get to it.
This guy's got the show script. What? He's jumping out on us.
Patience, Padawan.
Jeez.
Patience. We'll get there.
Zero patience. Should be at home just firing your son up to go dominate.
So we all took Hoban. Now, Mr. Snyder, 5-0 Fairless takes on 4-1 CVCA. Another fantastic game. Fairless, looks really good. Quarterback Carson Colucci. They've got the Brody Pomnio. This team looks really good, but CVCA, Mr. Snyder, his son, is having a season as well. Kyle doing everything he can for CVCA. I made a statement that I will not pick against CVCA for the rest of the season. I will continue that trend. CVCA gives Fairless their first loss of the season. You're welcome, Mr. Snyder.
I'm jumping on it too. I picked them last week.
I have to.
I picked them last week, and they didn't lose. There for a while, I was thinking every time I picked against them.
I don't want to sleep on the
won't.
couch. I'm picking CVCA.
No, I'm going to pick
Fairless,
CVCA. It's
Fairless
at home.
beat
Uh-oh.
CVCA last
There
year
might be-
31-7. They beat
Matt.
them the year before 42-26.
Your wife has chosen Fairless
She
here.
doesn't like to agree with me. Anyway.
Oh, man.
If I say right, she says left.
Chris
We know
Snyder
it.
just gave us the thumbs up.
See?
I appreciate
All right.
that, Mr. Snyder. I
Thank
told
you.
you, just be patient. We'll talk about CVCA. All right. Look, I'm listening to Jeff.
Like I said, after that first week, it was weird, but now we know exactly what they do, and they give Snyder the ball. You have to. He's carrying this team right now.
He is.
They've beaten really good teams: Woodridge, Canton South, and Triway.
Yeah.
So I do like CVCA, but I have a thing right now with I think Fairless goes in and upsets CBCA.
Oh, Jeff is taking Fairless. Wow. For those that didn't realize why we were laughing, the Jeopardy theme song playing in our headphones
Hopefully
because Jeff was taking his time to decide who he was picking. He goes with Fairless.
What was that Chappelle? Remember when Chappelle had to wrap it up?
Oh, the wrap it up button? Yes, we need that.
Wrap it up.
All right, so our next game.
Wrap
1
it up.
and 4, Cuyahoga Falls at 1 and 4, Copley.
Jeff's pick.
Jeff's pick is
Copley.
Tiger.
he takes,
No.
It's too much.
I'm telling you what, guys.
look,
Copley,
listen.
Copley looks really good in this game, I think.
They're explosive. And look, the last 3 games, they've scored 54, 28, and 50. Problem is, they've given up 67, 63, and 59.
Wow.
They lost all those games.
Wow.
Copley beat Firestone. Falls beat North.
Well, who beat
Those are the
Who
only
beat
wins.
Falls last week? Won it
Like
69
nothing.
So we've got a. Oh
Aurora?
my goodness!
I think it was Aurora.
Oh my goodness!
I think that Falls can't hang. They can't score with Copley.
Listen, so we
Copley.
we talk about Copley and Cuyahoga Falls records, guys. We know don't really mean squat.
Copley doesn't play like a 1 and 4 team.
No.
No.
And Cuyahoga Falls, I mean, their program has come a long way.
They've been down for quite a while.
So we're going to cover teams that we think these games are going to be exciting, and I think this game serves that purpose.
Copley.
Copley, of course,
Copley.
all across the board.
It's just
Copley.
they score too much. They just score too much.
So now we're going to go with 5-0 teams here. 5-0 West Holmes at 3-2 Worcester. This is going to be a good one, folks. I got West Holmes by 7.
By 7?
By 7.
They've outscored their opponents by over 200 points this year.
Yeah, I know.
It's silly.
All right, I'll say 14 then, just because you said that.
Those kids, man, down in Millersburg.
Touchdown.
They were 14-1, and I believe they lost in the state semifinal game to Chardon, who ended up winning
Chardon, man.
last
Shout
year.
out to the Hilltoppers.
They beat this Worcester squad 43-0 last year.
Ooh. Jeff's pick.
Look, other than that, last year Worcester's beat them 8 times in a row. They haven't had a losing record since 2013. Worcester's been coming around. Other than that tough luck 1-point loss,
He's
at
dragging his feet here,
Lexington.
folks.
I'm
Jeff's
taking
trying
Worcester
to make
at
up ground.
home.
He's
Worcester the
taking
upset.
Worcester.
You're actually circling these as we go, huh?
Wow.
Yes.
I feel like I'm back in school and I'm cheating. Remember that when you see it there? Someone's...
Jeff takes
Except
Worcester.
I
He's
just
trying
wanna
to
look
make
at your
up some
page to go
ground.
opposite.
Just can't read it.
So
We'll go West Holmes.
West Holmes.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's take
I think you and I are like
We've picked. I think we've won games opposite.
No,
just
every
you
game
know,
so
they're already-
far.
They're already circled.
I know. Who did you pick different from me this week? I don't think you've picked
Oh, it's coming. I think it's coming.
Nordonia and Wadsworth?
No, it
Or
hasn't
Hoover
yet.
McKinley?
No, you're gonna spoil it. I think it's coming up. We haven't picked
Okay.
it yet.
All right.
I think there's
only 2 left.
opposite.
There's only 2 games left.
Oh, which one could it be?
I know.
don't know.
We got 5-0 Nordonia at 3-2 Wadsworth. Guys, Nordonia's 5-0. We haven't really covered them much this year, but they look
Should.
absolutely incredible. Nordonia takes this game. They go
Yes.
into Wadsworth. They walk out with the win.
It's gonna be interesting to see Nordonia make this run that I think they're gearing up for.
Yeah,
And
they look really good.
Wadsworth is just unfortunately
down.
They've played. Wadsworth's played really well this year.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we keep going back to the very first game against Barton. We did not even think that they were going to be in that. We were
They
looking
hung
back.
with Medina.
In that Medina game, they were right there. Last week, Hudson, 17-7. You know, but at the
all
end
with
of the
the backup
day,
quarterback.
this Nordonia team is strong.
They forced 7 turnovers last week in that Twinsburg game.
Wow.
Will Stack is, I believe, still the starter for Wadsworth right now, and from what I saw last week, they couldn't generate anything. Nordonia's going to take the same thing that Hudson did and try to shut down Figueroa. I want to pick Wadsworth, I really do, but Nordonia, I think they're too heavy this year for Wadsworth.
Across the board there, huh?
Might be different if they had their regular quarterback, but even if he does come back, he hasn't played with the team. There's not a lot of chemistry going on.
Right.
And last week, they could not get anything going.
All right, guys, it's time for the game of the week. 4-1 Hoover Vikings come here to beautiful Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium to take on the 1-4 McKinley Bulldogs. I mean, guys, we saw a different McKinley team last week than we've seen all season. McKinley dominates Green in every facet of the game. Keaton Rohde was 11 of 18 for 134 yards, 3 touchdowns. McKinley runs for 258 yards. Nino Hill had 2 rushing touchdowns. Their defense was relentless. Sacked Buckner several times, disrupted his timing with his receivers, and his receivers didn't help him when they dropped passes either. McKinley had a pick 6 and a fumble recovery as well in that game.
Bulldog football.
I mean, if this McKinley team that played Green, showed up, showed out, dominated them, McKinley could take this game.
That's good. What's your pick?
I'm going with Connor Derlin and the Hoover Vikings. Wow. I think that Hoover...
Oh, you made him cold. You got to bundle back up.
You know, I love
Still
McKinley.
went through the air as soon as he said that.
Yeah.
The crime you've committed was
I have followed McKinley all season.
This is where I'm picking up a game.
I'd like to.
And I think that McKinley, it just depends on what team shows up. This game could either go one of 2 ways, right? So McKinley could either get beat or they beat Hoover. So I think Hoover just might be a little bit too strong for them.
McKinley's game plan was to go and be as physical as possible with Green.
Against a one-dimensional
Yes.
Green team that all they do is throw.
Green and North Canton are separated by 2 miles? if
Yes,
that.
but they're 2 completely different
the
teams.
water line and the poultry line are it's almost like the same team.
Okay.
Okay, same kind of.
We know who you're taking.
After last week, I'm so glad Green and McKinley wasn't a pick'em game because I was 100% picking McKinley.
I would have picked McKinley last week because Green had never beaten McKinley. And
that-
when you're one-dimensional, you're shooting yourself in the foot. That's why McKinley looks so strong. But they're going to face a Hoover Vikings team that can throw and they can run.
No, and that's something they didn't do last year.
And how has McKinley fared against mobile quarterbacks? Do you know?
Yeah, no, you're making a solid
I
solid
think
point,
this
man.
game is going to be close. And I will not be upset if McKinley wins this game. I won't. I just think Hoover has just a little bit more to prove.
I think just with me, the swag came back from McKinley.
McKinley looked like a completely different team last week.
They were getting after it. I just kind of see they're going to come back here, obviously,
To the home crowd and
they've only played one game here?
no, they played Austintown Fitch here.
Okay.
And they played Dublin Kaufman
Perry wasn't
here.
there. Perry was at Perry.
Perry was at Perry.
Okay.
So they're
So this
2
is their
and 2.
first
in
Federal League game in conference.
second. Yeah, they lost to Perry. So
But I'm saying here,
at home,
hosting.
their first home
I
game.
think that's the selling point right there.
I think
so.
this is going to be a really
Jeff,
good game.
who's the tiebreaker?
Jeff, Mr.
Who are you siding
Statistician,
with?
our statistician here.
Are you siding with Mike or me? Pick now.
Pick now, Jeff. Now.
Now. Do it.
McKinley.
Oh my goodness!
Look,
I'm going out on a limb.
Share your blanket with me.
All right, you can.
my goodness.
Hoover won last year, 24-0, but have lost the 11 previous years to McKinley. Their lone losses to Mansfield Senior, which a decent team.
Yeah.
But I do agree.
Which
I think that McKinley, I
Maslin
think the
rolled
switch,
that
the switch,
team.
The switch had been moved. The dial has turned. I think that McKinley found something last week, and I think they're going to keep going, man.
So
Well, and I'll defend the two of you right now. I don't do it often, but I'll defend the two of you. McKinley knows that they basically need to win out
They have
to prove a point. They need 5 wins to be playoff eligible,
Yep.
but you know that they want to finish. They want to run the table.
Could you see him just run the table in the Federal?
They want to run it, and they have the
That's a
ability
tall
and the
task.
power to do it. And these Federal League teams are really good. Perry, Hoover, Lake. I mean, McKinley has to travel to Maslin to finish the season.
It's gonna be a heck of a game.
McKinley, guys, I'm telling you right now, that team we saw last week, incredible. I'm half tempted to switch my vote, but
No,
I'm not
you've
going
already
to
said it.
because,
You've already said it.
well, no, here's why I'm not. I think Hoover's defense is the difference in this game.
Yeah. No.
They travel well too, man. We've talked about it before. Hoover has great fans.
They do. They have great fans. Great fans.
The stadium's going to be full.
Yeah. Once again, thank you so much.
Hang on. Before we do take off, I got to give a quick shout out.
Absolutely.
The team I coached, the 7th grade Green,
Okay.
got a nice little win against Jackson. I was leaving practice tonight. They said, Coach, can you give us a shout out? So
Look at
the
that.
varsity Green youth football takes down Jackson 27-6.
Nice job.
Got to
Nice
give it to
job.
those guys. A little bit of love. I know I'm going off script a little bit, but want to give a shout out to them.
We have a
I
script?
appreciate it.
We have a
Well,
script?
you know
What
yeah.
script? What's the script he
The
speaks
one
of?
that Mike gives that I cheat on.
I know,
every week.
right? My goodness, what would you do without me? Next week, a surprise guest will be on the panel as I have a scheduling conflict and I will not be here.
Who could it be?
I don't want to tease.
Who could it
but
be?
He's here. He just can't be seen.
No,
It's not Moon Man.
it's not.
It's not Moon Man.
You'll be
But
seen next week.
we'll see him next week.
Making his debut.
I'll still have my pick'ems because I'm coming for you, Matt.
Absolutely.
So I will submit my games, and hopefully our guest will read them correctly and not bamboozle me to where I go 0-10. But anyway, once again, shout out to the Hall of Fame Village, powered by Johnson Controls, live from Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton. Once again, thank you to our sponsors, Signs 330. Couldn't do it without them. Thank you to Moon Man, our amazing all-star Hall of Fame producer. Shout out to our ZIP intern, Dan. Thank you, Dan, for all that you do. Jeff, Matt, thank you guys. It has been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Always
We
is.
have had a great week. Share this episode again on comment, guys. Let us know where we need to go. Let us know if we're missing somebody that we need to talk about, because we want to bring you the best information possible.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly said.
Until next time.
Good job.
Anything else? Oh, the echo is back. Anything else?
No.
We got anything else? Good night, everybody.
Thank
I'll
you so
see you in
much.
2 weeks. These knuckleheads will be here next week.
For sure.
Good night, everybody.
I'm still reppin' the city. Just stay down if you with me. We gon' really represent. Gotta represent. Yeah, yeah, yeah.